Last week, our city was shocked and saddened to hear the story of two more instances of child abuse, one of them unfortunately resulting in the death of a 4-year-old child. As a church, we have made a commitment and we live out constantly a practice of keeping children and youth who come amongst us safe from all forms of abuse. Our ministry agents, our church council, all of those who work with children in any way, shape or form are trained in safe ministry with children practices, and they all have a blue card. Our groups constantly are reviewing risks and assessing and managing how they can be avoided to make sure that our children don't suffer any physical, emotional, spiritual or sexual abuse. We as a church are constantly wanting to look out for the safety of those who come in contact with us. We do it because it's a requirement of the government, but more importantly, we do that because it's an expression of our faith in Jesus Christ. Every time we baptize a child, there is a response from the congregation that says, as a loving community of Christ, we will live out our baptism so that the child who is baptized and all children may grow to faith in Jesus Christ. We live out our baptisms through our community life, through our shared worship, through our study of the Bible, our prayer, our living out the disciplines of being a follower of Jesus Christ. But we also live out our faith when we love each other as Christ loves us, when we follow what it is that Jesus says, let the little children come to me. We make sure that there is no barrier in the life of our congregation that will stop any child from being able to experience fully and completely the love and grace of Jesus Christ and the fellowship of his church, which we are. So that means that for each and every one of us, there is a part that we play in the protection of children amongst us. If you see something that you think is not right, I encourage you to speak out. Come and speak to me, speak to one of the other members of the ministry team. I heard last week somebody saying it is better to speak out and find that there is no reason to speak out than it is to not speak out and to allow something to go unreported. Please be part of this shared culture of guardianship and allow our children to flourish and thrive in the life of our church. Also want to share with you some good news, 3 items of good news to have to share with you. I shared a couple of months ago that the Church Council had reviewed the position of Resources Manager and renamed it as Administrator and have re-advertised it. The good news is that Rachel Manton, who has been filling that position, has been appointed to that position on a full-time permanent basis. Prior to that, Rachel was in a temporary position. Rachel will commence with us from the 1st of July officially as our administrator, and I am so excited and glad that she is on board with us full-time for as long as this season and her life and our church will last. Will you please, next time you come in contact with her, just congratulate her, because she is an absolute gem and a gift to our congregation. Second piece of good news. You will have heard that the government is starting to release some of the restrictions on our lockdown. That means that some of our congregational activities can start to resume meeting in person. The Church Council has agreed on a roadmap for what needs to take place, and I've communicated with each of the group leaders, just letting them know what needs to take place. You and I equally know, because we watch the news, this pandemic is far from over. Life will not resume exactly as it has been for a long time. So there are lots of requirements that we need to ensure that we put in place. And that's what our group leaders will be working on. So don't expect everything to go back to what it used to be straight away. But I also want to speak, whilst we're talking about vulnerable people, I want you to think, are you in one of those vulnerable categories that the government has recognised? If you are, please, my strongest encouragement to you is to think, what do you need to do and what don't you need to do? We have, throughout this whole time of lockdown, ensured that if you don't have access to technology, that you will be not disadvantaged. And we will continue to make that commitment. If you don't have access to technology, or you can't participate in our face-to-face gatherings, you will not be disadvantaged. You will not be a second-class citizen. You are loved and valued, and we want to include you in the life of our congregation. But our overriding concern is that you are physically, emotionally, spiritually, and relationally healthy. So think about your safety. The third piece of good news. You will have heard again the government stimulus package called JobKeeper. It provides $1,500 a fortnight per employee for those businesses, or in our case, those charities that have had a reduction of income of over 15%. Unfortunately, we have had a reduction of income of about 16%, which isn't too bad, which made us eligible for JobKeeper. We are receiving $1,500 per fortnight for all of our paid ministry staff and employees. So that helps to offset some of our financial losses. Thank you for maintaining your financial commitment to the life of our congregation. Thank you for being part of all that it is. Until I get to be with you again, blessings on you all.